Now, I don't know how much you know about central Queensland. Quite frankly, many of you look like city types, so just let me refresh your memory a little bit. Central Queensland is home to 230,000 people. If it was a city, it would be the 11th largest in the country. It's around the same size as Greater Wollongong. It's a big producer of coal, of sheep, coal, beef and sugar. And right now, it's in crisis. Over the last few years, it's been a beneficiary of the mining boom, but that's declining a bit now, particularly due to fly-in, fly-out workers and the general downturn in the industry. And the communities have been hit hard. Populations and real estate prices have plummeted, people are leaving in droves and so forth, and now more than anywhere ever, communities need to pull together. And when they do come together, the beating heart of that togetherness, if you like, is the band in the corner of the pub on a Saturday night. Country pubs have brought in musicians from all over the place, sometimes from the local areas, sometimes from regional capitals. However, faced with increasing hard times, drought, and a declining population, music tends to suffer. The pub moves from a band to a duo to a soloist, and sometimes even to a lonely neon jukebox sitting sadly in the corner. We need to understand live music in the regions if local communities are going to survive as vibrant societies. And that's what I'm looking at. Let me tell you that it's hard enough to earn a living as a musician, and it's even harder in a regional area. There are fewer venues, there are smaller demographics over larger areas, and there are fewer good musicians. Just let me open this up. Further, we know almost nothing about music in regional areas because no research has been done. How does the metal scene of Gladstone compare with the country scene of Mackay or the scenes from Airlie Beach and Rockhampton? Without an attempt to understand and contextualise these, development will always be at a local and ad hoc level. And why is music important to these towns? Well, music, a live music scene, a good live music scene, is a key marker of humanity. It speaks to and of our society. But don't just take my word for it. Let's take the word of Oliver Sacks, who said, "One does not need to have any formal knowledge of music, nor indeed to be particularly musical, to enjoy music and to respond to it at the deepest levels. Music is part of being human, and there is no human culture in which it's not highly developed and esteemed." Music is hardwired into our humanity. It marks our ceremonies. It addresses things we're passionate about. It brings us joy. It comforts us in despair. It's essential to any healthy society. And it's also lucrative. In 2014, the live music scene in Australia contributed $15.9 billion to the Australian economy. It produces $3 for every $1 that's invested. Imagine if we really understood regional music scenes not only as testing grounds for new acts, but as fertile grounds unto themselves. Music and musicians who speak to and of isolated communities. What will we discover about ourselves? What silenced voices would we hear? I'm addressing four main points in the research. The differences between regional and urban live music scenes, because we already understood our live music scenes pretty well. I'm looking at employability pathways. How do musicians actually create a living? Looking at production, dissemination, and consumption. How does a regional venue work? And I'm learning about learning access, equity, and participation requirements. How do we make it easier, or at least equally difficult, to be a musician in a regional area? And already I'm finding that regional music is different. Sometimes remarkably so. I spoke to a promoter recently who organises metal gigs in CWA halls, of all places. And there's a sausage sizzle in the corner run by Rotary. And everyone goes, and it's packed to the rafters. What will happen in 20 years if there are no musicians to play in the country pubs? What will happen if there's no musical voices, no songs from the cane fields or the pineapple plantations? What will happen to these communities without music in the local pub on a Saturday night? Without an understanding, a deep understanding of these scenes, the outlook is depressingly bleak. But what if, through a greater understanding of the area, we can cater to the needs of the industry in a more engaged manner? What if regional musicians and audiences are supported to tell their stories? That's what this research is about. Thank you.